The Boundary Park Alert System is sponsored by Pendle New Tech, a family-run Lancashire business you can rely on for everything fire safety related, including supply and installation, maintenance, testing, certification, alarms, risk assessments, like I said, anything fire safety related. But what do I know? Visit pendlenewtech.com and they'll sort you right out. Check the show notes for more information. This is a test of the Boundary Park Alert System. Hello and welcome to the Boundary Park Alert System podcast with me, Matt Dean. I'm joined as ever by Andy Halliwell. Hi, Andy.
Good morning.
Are you a Happy New Yearer? Do you like saying it still, or like where you're at now? What are we, like 11 days in? Do you still wishing people a Happy New Year?
I think that's past on it now. First working week is about the most acceptable time you can do that. So
we're not bothered if our listeners have a Happy New Year or have had a Happy New Year. It's too late for all that malarkey. Listen, I'll be honest with you, and people listening may or may not be surprised with this, but I don't believe in celebrating the New Year in the middle of winter. I think it's stupid. I'm an April Fooler. The New Year is when the summer, the spring growth and all that. So we're not in the middle of a new year. We're at the start of a new year. We're in the middle of one cycle. It's cold. It's grim. I don't believe in January because it's a stupid month to stop drinking in. We're right in the thick of it as far as I'm concerned. There's nothing new about this apart from it's a new calendar year and that's the way it works. So if you do celebrate, Happy New Year. Let's get straight into it. Latics, we haven't got anything particular to talk about, as in there's not been a game yesterday, there's not been a game on last week because the Bromley game was called off, but the fan guest stuck to his guns and he's here ready to crack on. So let's do the fan guest intro. Andy, please.
On a debutant.
Indeed.
Yeah, fan debutant. Okay, when was your first game, fan guest?
So first game was an away game, I'm told. It was 1981, and it was away at Shrewsbury, Gay Meadow. My dad dragged me along to see the Latics there. So I don't really recall it. That's what my dad tells me. But apparently I did throw the ball back to Roger Wilde. He was one of my dad's heroes at the time. So there we go. That's what I've been told. That was my first match.
1981. That's going back away, isn't it? We don't normally get them that far back. So that's.
I was going to ask how old you were at that game. It's not a rude question. You're obviously old enough to throw a ball back.
Yeah, no, I would have been 5.
Right.
Yeah.
Similar vintage then, Andy.
Yeah. Born 1976. Born a year before me. Yeah. So about the same age. What's the first game you remember then? If that was the first game you went to.
I was thinking about that this morning, actually. I think I was definitely a regular at Latics from sort of the, about 84, 85 season. But the one that I sort of remember, the playoff season, I remember distinctly losing to Leeds. Well, we didn't lose to Leeds, did we? But we got knocked out in the end. I remember Keith Edwards coming. I remember Mike Sessery scoring the goal. And then I remember Keith Edwards coming and scoring at the Chaddy end. And I remember Tommy Wright almost being having to carried off the pitch in tears. That's the one that I remember. I think that's the earliest one.
Yeah, and that picture.
It's the emotion in it. It's that emotional connection to it that tends to be the hook that you remember back in Riola's memories.
Yeah. Devastated, and that was there. So it's a miserable memory, but one that I remember.
Yeah, 86, 87 was my first season, and that picture of Tommy Wright was used on the cover of the programme the following season a few times, which was an interesting picture to use. Who was your first favourite player?
Big Ian Marshall. I adored Ian Marshall. Yeah, absolute hero. I don't think there would have been players in the lead up to that. Like Tommy Wright. I mean, everyone at the time loved Tommy Wright, etc. and Roger. But Ian, I just loved him. I know he's not everyone's favourite, but I thought he was brilliant. I still love him now, even though he flicked the V's to the Chaddy end on his debut match for Ipswich when he scored. I've forgiven him now.
Well, I'm seeing a connection here, Andy. I don't know if you've spotted it, but the fan guest has got a picture of the Beatles on the back wall. So you've got a thing for Scousers with funky haircuts. I think that's what it is.
That's true, actually. Yeah, maybe that is it. I never made the dots join up before
now. Ian Marshall was the player that I had my photograph taken with when I was mascot at a game. And he wasn't my favourite player. My favourite player was Roger Palmer. Roger Palmer was injured that day and wasn't at the ground. He didn't turn up. So I had my picture taken with Ian Marshall. And the reason that I had it taken with Ian Marshall was because in the dressing room, in the lead up to Joe Royle giving his team talk, he was just absolutely messing about and just making everyone laugh, including me. And the language was fruity, even though I was a kid. They didn't care, neither did I. And he was just messing about, winding people up, cracking jokes. It just seemed like before the game a fantastic atmosphere to be in. And the other thing I remember from that was Rick Oldham at 5-3. Had a cup of tea and a towel around him and nothing else on. And Joe Royle saying, are you going to get ready, Rick? He went, got 5 minutes yet.
Wow.
Yeah, great experience. What is your favourite ever away game? I assume it wasn't Shrewsbury in 1981.
No, because I can't remember it. I think if we're allowed to have one at a neutral ground, are we allowed one at a neutral ground? Not obviously not the playoff final, but the first FA Cup semi-final against United in 1990. Again, I think because what Matt said before about the emotion, I just thought that was just the most amazing match. You'll both remember at that time, you just took endless stick from your schoolmates who were United fans. So the needle in that match was amazing, and obviously that was the pinch me season, and I just kept on thinking, surely we won't carry on against that lot, and it was just an amazing day, wasn't it? I actually made my family watch it again, like literally over Christmas, and they very patiently did. And I was still bloody cheering like I was at the match. Honestly, it was an amazing game. So
I'd never experienced anything like it. I think the size of Main Road and a big ground, just the atmosphere, the aggression that was there, being with United fans in particular. It was incredible. It was like the football version of being on a roller coaster for me as a kid. It was the most exhilarating, frightening, thrilling, every single emotion I could possibly imagine. I felt that day. It was incredible, and I don't remember much. I don't remember much about the game. I don't remember things like the goals so much. I just sort of I've got images in my head. I remember this policeman. I remember there's certain things I remember about it, but. Yeah, it was a real awakening to like football of that era, I guess. Very, very different to just being in the Chaddy end. Which
absolutely.
Stage. Yeah.
Well, it's funny watching to your point. When we watched the match back the other day, there was like I don't remember Nick Henry having one cleared off the line, right? Things like that. Just like things that happen in the game that I have zero recall on. So it's a great day. So that's my favourite.
Yeah, it's funny. We're kindred spirits here, Gareth. It's my favourite, one of my favourite games as well. It was an amazing day. Like you said, I can distinctly remember. I went to school in Tameside, full of Reds. None of which none of them ever went to the game. Never went to watch them. They're all armchair supporters, so they didn't know anything about it. So the stick you were getting in the lead up to me being one of probably only 2 Oldham fans in our school. Getting stick in the lead up to it, and then on the I think the game was on the Sunday, wasn't it? On the Monday, walking into school and just walking in and just going, "All right, lads."
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was brilliant. Yeah.
I remember taking away from that as well. Brian Robson was like one of my first ever favourite players, because like the first football I remember was the '86 World Cup. I don't really remember football before that. I remember the first thing that really got me hooked into football, like Lineker and Robson, and then I just remember coming away from that game hating Brian Robson, because he was so dirty. Like he was such a thug on the pitch. Him and Mark Hughes were proper thugs, and like I just came away with a very, very different sort of feeling about this player that as England captain prior to that, I held in such high esteem. But like because he was horrible and like sort of the enemy on that day, it was really interesting sort of experience for a young lad.
Yeah, no, well, it was fun again, just watching that match back the other day. You forget how like dirty football was. Even back like 1990 doesn't seem like the dark ages, does it? But I'll tell you what I loved as well was like watching Mike Milligan in particular. There's a couple of cracking foot leaves in that match. He absolutely leaves his foot in on a number of occasions, and you think, good lad. It'd be a straight red nowadays, but it's kind of
You'd not get the result, would you, if you didn't like that? Latics had to go toe to toe with United on a footballing level, but on a physical level as well at that era. I mean, it's an interesting one. We could maybe come on to the FA Cup third round and some of the results from yesterday and all that. But maybe for later, because obviously we've not even got through the fan guests. We're nearly 10 minutes in. Like, that's the luxury of not having a game to talk about. We can just take our time, can't we? But yeah, let's move on to the next question, Andy.
And to give us a little known fact about yourself.
I really struggled with this one. Obviously, a really dull guy talking this morning about that. So I think if I was going for one that's Latics related, I sort of very temporarily turned my youngest, my little lad, into a superhero when Chris Taylor scored in the very last minute. And I can't recall the game, and I should. And I want to say it was Millwall, but I think we won 4-3. And because he was a little fella, like literally, I think he was like 2. And we were sat right at the front of the Chadian, not normally where we sat. And he was wearing the orange Carlotti football strip, that had Hillstone on the front. And when we scored, I didn't really recall it, but I remember getting chastised by my wife because the little fella flew through the air. He literally was airborne, and not just a little bit. He got completely launched, and it was actually captured on television. So when the goal goes in, you see player mayhem, Chris Taylor into the Chaddy, and you just see this little figure literally flying through the air like Superman. So terrible parenting, but there we go, lost in the moment.
Is that your son's first Latics related memory then? I remember watching this game with me. I don't remember what game it was, but I do remember being launched in the air.
Yeah, well, my son, maybe there's a connection here. I think maybe it's that, and I think it's probably because I persisted in taking him to Latics during some of our darker times. He absolutely hates football. He detests it. I think I've scarred him for life. So my daughter loves it. She's a season ticket holder. But yeah, my lad hates it. So maybe that was one of the contributory factors.
Yeah, maybe it's not for everyone.
No, it's not. It's definitely not if you got dragged to Latics during the Mo era. So not good. Yeah.
Fair enough. Right. So in unison, Andy, in our best voices. Who are you?
Yeah, I'm Gareth Hilton.
Welcome to the podcast, Gareth. I believe we have a mutual friend, and that's why you're on. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah, sort of. There's a link between a few. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And you sent me a message, and here you are. And that's how it works, isn't it? If you want to be on the podcast, just get in touch, and then we're always happy to have fan guests on every week, like we always have done. So the winter has finally sort of set in. Although looking out the window now, it's very wet and look presumably quite mild, so I'm not sure if the game would have been on had it been today, but obviously they called it early enough, and I think that's fair if they don't think there's much chance of the game going ahead. So yeah, Notts County will now be on a Tuesday night, as will Bromley away. Gareth, you were saying that suits you.
Absolutely, yeah. I love a down south match during the week because it just suits my working schedule. So happy with that. I'll be able to get to that. But Notts County being rearranged will present more of a problem. But we normally get there. We mess around with the diary a little bit and make excuses why I'm not in London.
Excellent priorities. A little bit disappointing though. I think Notts County is one of those games where you'd expect a good away following on a Saturday. So maybe it might hit Latics in the pocket a little bit. Hopefully not. But Andy, how are you feeling about the fact that we've had these postponements? Do you think it's come at a good time? That the Christmas schedule was good to us for a change. Well, not the schedule, but the results were good to us for a change. The points haul's been good. I
mean, the fixtures were difficult, weren't they? But we came out with a reasonable return, didn't we? Well, the last 5 games is 1-2 draw and 3, so that's not a bad points return. I think. I had tickets for the Bromley game. Obviously, I was going with my 2 lads. They were gutted when it was called off. But I think given Bromley's form, they won again yesterday, didn't they, at Tranmere? They've won 6 on the bounce and look really good. I'm not too disappointed that game was called off, if I'm honest. We could possibly do with... We're playing them in March, aren't we? By the bit of luck, won't be in the same form they're on now. But, I mean, I'm pretty relaxed about the whole affair. If you look at the form table, last 6 games, we're literally 11th, right? 1-2, drawn 3, lost 1. Literally bang in the middle of the table. We're 14 points off relegation. With similar points off the playoffs. It's where we're going to end up. It's where we predicted we will be at the start of the season. I've got absolutely no problem with it. So I'm quite relaxed about the whole affair. I've seen quite a few people getting irritated about the fact that Mickey Mellon keeps repeating the mantra that we've got no money. And that we're not going to be signing any players unless he gets some more out. But I'm kind of sanguine about the whole affair. You know, we knew that at the start of the season that he'd spent his budget. We'd said that already. You know, he's been a bit unlucky with Michael Mellon's injury. He hasn't been recalled by Burnley, so it looks like we're going to be paying that for the rest of the season. So it's just the way it's going to be. You know, mid-table for me is absolutely fine. I'm quite relaxed about it. You know, we look all right in patches, don't we? I saw you at the Walsall game, Matt. That was my Christmas venture into the Midlands. That was a really good day out, wasn't it? I really enjoyed it. It was a good game of football, you know, toe to toe. We had a right good go at him. He didn't sit back with a low block. He had a bash. And it was a great 3 points. But I wouldn't have been happy with a draw either. You know, it was a good day out. So I'm pretty relaxed about the whole affair. I don't see any reason to be moaning about it. That's for sure.
Gareth, did you get to many games over the festive period?
Yeah, we were at Grimsby and on Walsall. We had a great day at Walsall as well, same as you. In fact, arguably too good in the afternoon. But talking to me pal, we don't actually have a great recollection of the journey from Birmingham City Centre to the ground, but we do remember the match happily. So that was good. So yeah, no, it
was like chalk and cheese, Gareth. Really, weren't they? Grimsby and Walsall on performance-wise.
Well, Grimsby again. It was grim, wasn't it? The whole thing, the whole experience was pretty grim actually. But but I mean, we were resilient, weren't we? We were robust at Grimsby, and I've seen us blow that kind of thing before. So I was really happy actually with the performances over Christmas and just before that. You know, if I think back to was it Crawley where we were 2-1 up, wasn't it? You know, just before the Christmas period, that easily should have been 3 points. It should have been 3 points against Carlisle. You step back from that, and that would have been a real run, wouldn't it? You know, so it's, as they say, it's fine margins. I feel...
Sorry, who do you mean? Who do you mean? You don't mean Carlisle, do
you? Sorry, I'm talking nonsense. Chesterfield, beg your pardon. New Year's Day. So I think I was feeling really. I'm feeling really, really positive coming out of the Christmas period and just before that. Well, like I say, unlucky that with what's happened to Michael Mellon, but you know we've carried on strongly. You know so. It's what other people need to step up, isn't it? And I mean, I was disappointed that games are cancelled. I completely see the logic in the Bromley thing. They're not going to keep winning, are they? So let's see what they're doing in March. But I'm definitely in the sort of mindset of keep them coming at the moment because we were playing well.
It's been, I mean, there's no doubt that there has been some real challenges personnel-wise for Mickey Mellon in terms of injuries, really unlucky injuries. You know, when Ollie Hammond was playing really well, he dislocated his shoulder. Jack Stevens got injured very early in the season, came back, and now he's done his collarbone. You know, like really, really harsh. And from what we've seen from Stevens, he's the type of player that's going to come and, you know, change games for us. You know, he's a real impact player. No, I don't mean off the bench. I mean he had causes and impacts in the game. Michael Mellon's injury. So, like you said, players have got to step up, and I thought particularly against Walsall, that really was the case. I thought Drummond was brilliant up front. I thought he was a real medicine. And I think there's been a question in my mind over sort of like since we signed Drummond about what his best position is. And I'm starting to think that it might be as just a second striker, just play it off somebody else and just press in and being a menace and being on the shoulder. And the goal he scored against Chesterfield was brilliant. Like took it really, really well. Great flick on from Quigley, and really good goal between the two of them. So I mean, if he can get more consistent with his finishing, but he is quite versatile. You know, he does play well in different positions. So I think Drummond, you know, hopefully could be one of the stories of the second half of the season. That would be really nice. I thought that we were terribly unlucky against Chesterfield, and when we got the penalty right at the end, and Joe Garner steps up, and you're looking at it and you're thinking, this is Joe Garner. You know, we're all thinking back to Wembley. We're all thinking, he took that one away, that massive penalty. I'm thinking, he's going to score this. Of course he's going to score this. And then the other side of my brain was going, there's no way we're going to score 2 last-minute winners in 2 matches. That is just no way that's going to happen. So there was this kind of, he steps up, and to be fair, it was a pretty poor penalty. You know, he kind of hit it down the middle, but it curled slightly towards the keeper, who got his feet to it, and that was that. So it was too good to be true, really, wasn't it? And then, of course, Manny, the ball sort of hit him on the line and went over the bar with virtually the very last touch of the game. So, again, it could have been a slightly better haul, but yeah, I mean, it would have been maybe a good time to go in and play Notts County and Bromley, insofar as we were on a good run. But I think it's been pretty punishing to us, hasn't it, as well? I think in terms of personnel, and I don't think a break will be doing the lads any harm whatsoever, to be honest.
The Latics Football Phone-In, proudly sponsored by Legacy Pets. Being a Latics fan is for life, and so are our pets. No one wants to think about what happens when we lose them, but when we do, we need to know that both them and us are in good hands. Legacy Pets have worked with animals for over 20 years and understand what it means to have lost a beloved family pet. They're also Latics fans. So, if you do need their pet cremation services someday, they are dedicated to providing compassionate support, just like we do on the phone-in. Visit legacypets.com and tell them that you're part of the Latics family too.
Easy boy.
I did have a slight moment of paranoia the other night, though, because we were playing quite well last year, weren't we, going into Christmas, and then we had Boxing Day cancelled, and then the world caved in on us, didn't it? And I was thinking, God, I hope we don't have a repeat. But it feels different this year. I don't think we've got a mass exodus of players like we had.
Andy, the fearmongers amongst the fan base have been predicting the second half of season collapse since about September. So, do you think they've got any legs to stand on? Do you think that there'll be, how do you see the second half of the season unfolding in context against the first? Are you expecting just more of the same? Have you already said what you think is going to happen, basically?
Well, I do think there's some credence in the argument that we will struggle a little bit in the second half of the season on the basis that if you watch what's going on in League Two, Chesterfield have signed a bucket load of players. Salford have paid reportedly £600,000, maybe not all up front, but a deal worth that value to sign Ryan Graydon from Fleetwood, who scored 8 goals this season in League Two. It's just absolutely mental. I saw some Gillingham accounts being critiqued on social media the other day, and I flicked through it to see exactly how much they were losing every week, just to try and keep pace or try and get in the playoffs. And you realise just how difficult it's going to be. And I'm absolutely fine with the Rothwell saying to Mickey Mellon, your budget's your budget. You've had it, you've spent it, and that's your lot. Deal with it.
Yeah,
you can't. Because
amongst many football owners, Andy, it's a question of like who's prepared to lose the most, the fastest, isn't it? And it's how much you're prepared to lose in order to get promotion at the end of the day. We don't want that for our club, do we?
No, absolutely not. And the thing that you've got to keep reminding yourself of is we've only just got our academy back this year, and it's not going to bear fruit immediately. And that is the way that we're going to unlock some youth players coming into the first team squad that we can then sell on for money, and then you can build again and go afterwards. So, we're just going to have to settle down at the moment. That's how I see it. But the second half of the season could be challenging because it doesn't look like we're going to be able to get any many players in. Teams around us probably will have more budget to play with at this point in the season. And so therefore, with a threadbare squad, particularly up front, we might find ourselves, not winning as many games as we might desire. And so I'm quite relaxed so long as we're miles off the bottom, which we currently are, then I'm pretty comfortable at the minute. I mean, here's one stat for you. Which team in League Two has used the least amount of players in the squad this season? Do you know? No. It's Bromley. Bromley. 22 players they've used this season. Top of the table.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, we're second in that list. 24 players. Which is interesting because last season, I think we probably would have used about 34 players by this point, wouldn't we? Yeah. So he has begun to work with a smaller squad, and that's proven in the number of players that are being used. And he's still rotated his squad and his team, hasn't he? Game on game. So, yeah, I think we've just got to sort of accept that this is a season of consolidation, and consolidation is being achieved pretty comfortably at the minute. So I'm cool. Very zen. Very, very zen.
I mean, I think the Christmas period, what the Christmas period has proven to us is that, even with the injuries that we've got, the serious injuries that we've got with Tom Conlon missing, Jack Stevens missing and Michael Mellon missing. They're the three main, big injury misses. You could possibly put Josh Hawkes into that as well, because I think he's been a good player for us when he's. I don't know what the story is with him, to be honest with you, when he's coming back or not. But I think regardless of all that, I think even with the strikers that you've meant, the strike force that we've got. I put Drummond into that category. I think Quigley, Fondop, and Garner. I think as long as Garner remains fit, I think we're all right. I think. I think that those four players have proven over the Christmas period that they've got. Well, Fondop didn't because he got suspended, but I think there's enough goals in them. I think there's enough threat in them when they play well to compete against good sides in this division. I think we'll pick up good wins like we did against Warsaw. We'll drop silly points like we did maybe against Crawley, and that's just the way it's going to be through the season. And that's what happens when you're an average League Two team, innit? And I mean, even we've said it before. We said it after the Warsaw game. We didn't think that the first Warsaw game, it was like, how are these top of the league? Yeah. And again, at their place, it was like, they're not a great side, but like whatever it is that they do well, they do it well consistently enough to keep churning the points over, keep churning the wins over. Don't draw too many games, and and that's what it takes. And obviously, Bromley are going back to, obviously, there's like some quite memorable moments with Bromley and Latics. Obviously, that was our David Unsworth's first game in charge away at Bromley. We got beat 3-0. There was obviously, the Frank and Darren and whatnot coming back from saying what a well-run club this is, and obviously
it was his last game as well, wasn't it? It was his last game as well.
It was the same result, wasn't it? 3-0, yeah, exactly. And it was only this season was the first time that we managed to beat them, and we played them over 2 seasons in the National League. But it goes to show, doesn't it, that Frank and the board at Latics went down there and they were genuinely impressed, and they were right to be impressed, clearly, because what is happening at Bromley is fantastic. They're a really, really old club, Bromley. They've been around for a long, long time, but it's been down at the lower reaches of the Football League, and they could be very easily be in League One next season, which is massive for them, absolutely huge. And they were obviously right. They could see whatever was going on there. And I remember a lot of fans going, "Oh my God, we're emulating Bromley now, are we?" Well, yeah, hopefully, because I want us to be in League One soon, and whatever it is that they're doing right, if we can adapt it, because we're a club that has started again. I think we have to remember that we have started again. We haven't had to rebuild our stadium, but everything else pretty much has had to start again from the ground up. And you've got to take bits from wherever you see examples of, we could do that. That's great. And Little Wembley is transformed. I've not been up there for a while, but I'm sure it's come on again since I was last up there. And yeah, fair play to Bromley. They're competing in a division where there are much, much bigger football clubs than them, and they're top of the league. So, whatever it is they're doing, fair play to them. And, it will take us time. It's taken Bromley a hell of a long time to get to this position where they're top of League Two. We're talking 100 plus years. So it's not going to take us that long. So, yeah, like you said, Andy, it's all pretty zen.
Yeah.
Gareth, are you feeling the same? I mean, we talk about this every week. Are you on the same zen bus as us?
Yeah, I'm super happy. I think everything that is happening to the club is amazing. I'm definitely a glass half full kind of guy when it comes to that. Don't get me wrong, I can have me moments of moaning, but I think everything that the Rothwells and Darren Royal have done is brilliant. Everything that you've just said there, the match day experience, Little Wembley. We're a proper club, and we are coming back, but it feels like we're racing back as well, right? I think they're making progress probably far more quickly than most others in their position would be. So I think that's brilliant. I think if we finish mid-table, that's fantastic, because we just didn't want to get relegated. And if I'm completely honest, I didn't think we would, and that's not me being complacent. But here's the thing about this division. I've got a really good mate who's a Walsall fan, and he agrees with what you said, that he can't understand how they've got to the top of the table. He doesn't really enjoy the football that he sees most weeks. But he said that what they've been really good at this year is more often than not eliminating mistakes. So they've just been able to have that consistency of not making a mistake, not giving away a soft goal. And that's why you kind of look at us this season. I think no one's hit the woodwork more than Latics. I think that's a stat. I think we've hit the woodwork 12 times. I think I saw as a statistic.
Careful, Gareth. He'll be XGing it in a minute. Careful.
Oh, yeah, sorry. So you've got that, and then the other bit as well, and this will sound miserable, and I don't mean it to. If you look at our clean sheet record and our goals against record, obviously it's amazing, but still within that, we haven't half given away some really soft goals at times, like some inexplicable goals. And I know at this level, probably every player is entitled to a rick or two. Otherwise, they might be playing a bit higher up. But I still think with a couple of those, woodworks having gone in, if we could have just eliminated like 2 or 3 of those really daft mistakes. I think the first goal we gave away at Notts County was a disgrace. And that set the tone for the rest of the game. Like the Crawley match, God knows how either of those goals went in.
The Walsall's winner at Boundary Park was a shocker,
exactly.
For example.
Yeah. You just think of some of those, and like you quite easily can see your way through to think, well, we probably could have easily got around another 12, 15 points. Quite easily, actually, just on time.
Yeah, we could easily be sniffing the playoffs, yeah.
So I'm happy. I have my odd moment where I've got my head in my hands, and but I probably, maybe I'm an idiot. There's loads of people who say I am an idiot, but like when it comes to footy, I could see us, if we could keep Garner fit, ending up closer to the playoffs than sort of banging mid-table. But there's lots of ifs and buts in that. It's a big if. Can we get Garner fit? You'd like to think we have a better run with injuries in the second half of the season. I think the squad's good enough to have a good second half. If we
all it takes, Gareth, is for that luck to change. I think, because I think absolutely. One thing that I'm really, really pleased about, and I think regardless of whether you, people have got opinions on Mellon's style of football and all that, and think we should be playing much better and scoring more goals and blah blah. But the character of the team that he's built, the personalities that he's brought in, they never give up. They graft. They leave everything out there. It's often, like you said, when we lose a game, it's not because it might be because of a lack of quality on the day, but it's never through the lack of effort. And so I think having that characteristic is really, really important. And if they keep doing that through the second half of the season, and you make your own luck, don't you? And I think exactly. There are reasons that I feel like there are more reasons to be optimistic, or more on the glass half full going into the second half of the season than on the glass half empty. We'll see how it goes. If that luck continues, we'll probably finish where we are now, 15th. But if things start to go in, then we get a little bit of luck in front of goal, and Drummond scores as many as he missed in the first half of the season, things like that. Then I think, and like you said, Joe Garner makes a massive. He signed on for the rest of the season, but he makes a massive difference, doesn't he? He
does. I mean, I think we should have a statue of Joe Garner outside the ground just for the playoffs. I mean, I think loads of things clicked in that playoff run. But I don't think it's an accident that we got Joe Garner back for the last game of the season, didn't we? He got 2 then. I just think he's just such a great influence, as well as a cracking footballer at this level. So
a menace, an absolute menace to the opposition, which I love to see. He's the only player really that we've got that's like that, with that nerve.
Well, you were talking about Drummond earlier. I think it was the Chesterfield coaching staff said after the game in their post-match interview that they were pleased when Drummond was moved out wide because he was causing them more trouble down the middle. And it is an interesting observation you make earlier, because he gets played wide a lot, doesn't he? I think that pace down the centre is something that can frighten teams. And you could see how cumbersome Chesterfield's big lump of a centre half looked. The lad who got sent off in the end.
And they're all like that in League Two, aren't they? They're all big lumps, aren't they?
Yeah. So I think that's fair enough. We should probably. I'd like to see us, play. I think the thing with Walsall, right, that I noticed is they've got 2 good fullbacks that bomb on, and they use width a lot, and they're quite powerful through the middle. And so obviously got a good striker in Kanu. Has he gone back? And they've started to lose some players. Walsall, I noticed that they've got low knees in. I haven't looked for him, but I'd like to see us use more width, experiment a bit with the formation I don't like that narrow diamond that he plays. I know he's played out of necessity, but I'd just like to see us do that. If Stevens and Hawkes can get a run in the team, it'd be quite good just to try and play with it, because the other stat is there are only 6 teams in the top 4 divisions of English football that have got a 100% win record when they score first or lead in the game, and we're one of them. And so if we can get on the front foot and score first, then it bodes well. But I'd like to see do a bit of that. I'll tell you the one thing that's nagging me at the minute is, so we've signed Garner for 6 months extension. We've done the same with Dynel Simew, haven't we? Which some people are not sure about. I'm not sure about him at the minute either, from what I've seen. But I'm prepared to have another 6 months, have a look at him. He comes with a reasonable pedigree, Chelsea's academy, England's schoolboy and under 18s and all that sort of stuff. So let's have a look at him and see where we go. But I'm getting worried about the fact that we've had no news on Manny Month. His contract's up in the summer. He is definitely one that I would want to extend, and I'm getting a bit. I'm worried about what that means. Is he?
How old
is he
now?
moving? He's about 30, isn't he?
I think he is.
Early 30s.
I suspect that in this case that his agent is, his agent's going to be looking to get him the best possible deal. It's his last, probably really, really good, the last good contract he's going to get in it. He's going to want a two-year deal minimum. He's going to want to be on a good wage and good benefits and stuff like that. So, his agent will be looking around. I should imagine. This is all pure speculation. I'm just assuming that that's how it works at this stage in a footballer's career. And he has been really good for Latics, and I'm sure there are other clubs that would gladly take Manny on. So I'd love to keep him. I think he's the fans love him, which I think always helps. And he gets us out of a lot of bother. So, yeah. Well, do you think we will? Do you think where we finish matters in that regard, or anything like that, or do you think
I don't think. I think you've nailed it there. I don't think it really matters too much. He dropped down to National League to play with us from a League One club, so I don't think where we finish or where the club is in the sort of pyramid is too material to him. I wouldn't have thought. At his age, he, like you said, he's looking for a contract that decent contract. He's 31 at the end of this month, so he's still 30 at the minute. So he's got plenty of years. Got 2 or 3 seasons left in him. Yeah. If he wanted a 2-year deal, I'd give him a 2-year deal straight away, and not a problem with that. But I'm getting a bit worried about that. It feels to me like he's possibly doing what you just described, which I don't blame him for necessarily. But and maybe they're looking at Dynel Simew as his replacement. But that is a worry.
The Boundary Park Alert System is sponsored by Pendle New Tech, a family-run Lancashire business you can rely on for everything fire safety related, including supply and installation, maintenance, testing, certification, alarms, risk assessments, like I said, anything fire safety related. But what do I know? Visit pendle-nu-tech.com and they'll sort you right out. Check the show notes for more information.
So while we're on transfer rumours, let's do a little. It's pretty light on rumours, isn't it? Tommy McDermott has been rumoured, which is a midfielder who's on a season-long loan at Shrewsbury. I haven't seen him be recalled by Burnley, but Burnley aren't recalling anyone, the buggers. So I don't know whether there's any truth to that. He's a midfielder. The other 2 names that I'd seen as linked to were Ricardo Reis, who was playing for Merthyr Tydfil. Centre forward, he scored like 100 goals in 6 games for Merthyr Tydfil, something ridiculous. And then Forest Green Rovers signed him, and he scored 2 in his debut for them the other day. So that's obviously not happening. Another name we were linked with in the summer was Isaac Lee, who's plays for Flint Town and scored 100 goals in 9 games for them. He now is attracting attention from a lot of League One and League Two clubs, so that doesn't look like there's any merit in that. There was another name, Harley Hamilton's a player at Hereford, midfielder, again, good pedigree. And then the obvious one is how many times we've been linked to Cole Stockton. Obviously, I've just mentioned it, Salford signing Ryan Graydon for 600 grand will probably put him further down the pecking order. Although this morning I've seen Alan Nixon say that Barrow are going to sign him.
I've literally just had a text from someone saying, just heard Barrow are favourites to sign Stockton instead. And this was from someone at Salford who texted saying that Latics were interested in him. So we'll see what I suspect that if any business is done in January, it'll be done right at the end of January from Latics in terms of bringing anybody in. It'll be interesting to see if we can actually get anybody off the books. There are clearly players that are surplus to requirements that need shifting off the books. But I think that ultimately we'd all like to see somebody brought in who's going to make a difference in the second half of the season. Do we do we really need to? I think we've already sort of established in the conversation that we've probably got enough to do the job of finishing comfortably and able to focus on next season. Obviously, the confirmation of Mickey Mellon's new deal hasn't been announced yet, but all eyes really are on next season, aren't they? What happens in the summer, like you said, Andy, like some money month contracts ending and bringing players in and having a new budget. I'd like to think that every season that we're in this division, with the finances get a bit healthier and the amount of money that the Rothwells have to lose decreases based on revenues increasing and that kind of stuff. So, I mean, one of the things that it would have been nice, would have been a cup run. We've just had the FA Cup third round this weekend. Because I live so close to the Etihad, it's always like, oh, it'd be great to go to Man City. You can get like 9,000 fans or whatever it is in there. But Exeter took a hell of a beat at Man City yesterday, didn't they? It was 10-1. A few other like Shrewsbury, sort of similar kind of league position to us, went to Wolves and got battered 6-1. There's a big gulf. We were talking back to when we were a Championship Division 2 team against Premier League. It's hard if you get one of those big clubs now, but it still does happen. I mean, what an incredible result for Macclesfield against the cup holders, Crystal Palace yesterday. That was fantastic, wasn't it?
Absolutely. But Josh Kay became the face of FA Cup magic, didn't he? He was the face. It was all over the BBC Sports news page. I think it was Josh being held aloft. So,
that's good for him. Good for him. Yeah. So, but we unfortunately we didn't manage to get to that stage. But something like that is what we need. In the next couple of years, something big, a little bit of a cup run, maybe good cup revenues, and that kind of can make a big difference to the budget. Can it just sort of boost things along a little bit in terms of what's available for the playing squad? But I think in terms of I get frustrated watching some of the games that we play. I think it's a combination of sometimes that how the manager sets the team up and how the players play. I think that's always the case, I guess, really. I think it's sometimes a little bit more on Mickey Mellon and sometimes a bit more on the players. But I think, like I said before, I think what's the most important thing is getting a really good bunch of lads in there and having a foundation to build on. How long is it, really, since we had a foundation to build on in terms of a manager, steady backroom staff, and a spine, a foundation of a team to build around? It's been donkey's years, hasn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. You see people having a moan and everyone's entitled to their opinion, but I'm not too grumpy about like Mickey's transfer business, to be honest with you. I think there's obviously a couple of like notable misfires in there, but I think it is a good group. I think to your point, Matt, the character of the team that he inherited versus the character of the team that we've got now, it's night and day, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So I think that's great. I think we should be really positive about that, and as you say, build on it. Not sort of not blow everything. If we could get, if he could unearth another Jürgen Nathan or something like that for the second half of the season, that'd be brilliant. But if they were there to be easily had, then every team would have one, wouldn't they? So I'd kind of sort of steady down, not waste any Rothwell money if there's no one that's going to change the squad. I don't think we need any squad players. I definitely think we should avoid that.
No, we don't need any more of them, do we? Any Worthingtons and Waters and things like that that are just kind of there to make up the numbers and then gone again equally quickly. Yeah, exactly. Right, well, listen, Gareth. Go on, Andy.
I was just saying on the FA. The third round. I love the third round weekend. I don't know about you. So I was like tuning into a game and have a little watch. The great matchups of small little clubs playing against big ones. Who is the most successful football team in the third round of the FA Cup? So the best success in that particular round, it's obviously one of the big teams. I'll tell you, it's Chelsea, Man United, Liverpool. Boring top three. So where do we come? What position do we come as in terms of success in the third round?
So does that mean in games when we've got to the third round?
Exactly.
How we've done.
You've obviously got to be in the third round. How many? I don't know that. I don't know exactly how many wins or draws that amounts to. But where do you think we rank in the English Football League pyramid for our position in success in round 3 of the FA Cup?
It's got to be pretty low, I'd say. Are we in the 70s or the 80s or the 90s of the 92, Andy?
Well, pick a number, Gareth. Pick a number, Matt. Come on.
So I'd place it in the 70s.
Right, 70s for you both.
Yeah, I'll go my year I was born, 78. I'll go 78.
78. Fair enough. You see, I have some great memories of the FA Cup, and so therefore, my expectations were probably a bit higher than they actually are. I thought we'd be a bit further up, but we're actually 65th, sandwiched right in between Bradford City and Shrewsbury Town. Tranmere in 68, so that's something at least. But if you think about where 65 is, it puts you in League One. You know, if you rank those teams in terms of success, and it's just another one of those stats that tells you that really our existence is about somewhere in the middle of League One, really, in modern day money. So hopefully we get back to there. But it'd be great to have another cut run because people were sharing videos of that Fulham away game the other day, and you sort of watch it back and think, what a good day out that was. One of the only good days out we had under the Lemsagam. So it would be good to do. It'd be good to experience that again. What other little bits have I got? I'm sure I had another stat. Oh yeah.
We're the fire experts, fire safety experts at Pendle New Tech. We train fire marshals, fire safety marshals at Pendle New Tech. Pendle New Tech have fire experts across the UK covering all your local and national needs. With over 100 years experience in the fire safety industry, you know that you can trust Pendle New Tech. Right, enough of that now.
I saw a stat the other day. Arsenal have scored the most corners, the most goals from corners this season of any team in Premier League history, apparently, or they're all close to it at the very least. And then it listed teams that had scored most goals. So they've scored 17 goals so far from corners, and the most was Man United, who scored 18 in 2012. So they're going to surpass that by the end of the season, presumably. But we are actually joint 4th on that list with 15 goals from corners in 1993. There you go. So that was an interesting stat.
I was going to say, not this season, surely.
I was going to say.
Well, I'll tell you what is just to link to that. I'll tell you what is interesting is I thought that at that Walsall game, those 2 deliveries from corners that create goals were probably 2 of the best deliveries that Ryan Woods have put in this season. And it would be good to see him, beat the first man a bit more than he has done at certain times, because we have got a threat in there, haven't we, with some big lads? Yeah. So we should be trying to capitalise on that. So yeah, hopefully they can work on that and we can score a few more.
Or do what we did at Walsall and get Harrott across the front post to put the ball in. So.
Do you know what? We didn't mention Keane Harrott when we were talking about our striking options, and I think that's probably as much to do with the fact that he's not really featured at all. Where do you play Keane Harrott, lads? Is he one of 2 strikers or what?
Well, so if I go first, without upsetting Keane, and it's bizarre, right? Because he scored two of our absolutely most significant goals in 2025. If someone was said to me what are his key attributes, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what I'd say. I mean, I've heard, he's obviously got a good left foot. So I don't really know. He's not got pace to burn as far as I can tell. I've not seen him take a man on as such. So maybe he's a fox in the box or he's a good finisher, but I don't really know. I don't feel like I know enough about him, probably because he's been unlucky with injury and whatever, and we've not seen enough. But I actually don't know. I can see the Garner and Drummond partnership. I could see a Quigley and Drummond partnership. I don't know who you'd pair Harrop with to best effect.
We haven't seen that much of him, have we? And I think that some of the best stuff that I've seen from him is when he's come in from that right hand side and cut in with his left foot. But I feel like he's not a winger. I feel like he might play well as like an inside right in a 4-3-3, but we don't play that formation. So, what do you think, Andy? Or do you think he's got a potential to be a striker?
Well, I see him as only that personally. He's a centre forward. That's how I see his position. He's obviously got some issues in his personal life. He referenced them in his interview. He's obviously got some battles that he's ongoing, but he has some of the raw attributes to be. He's quite a unit. He's a big lad.
He's bulked up a bit, hasn't he? He's bulked up recently.
Yeah,
he looks bigger.
He's a big lad. He's got a wicked left foot, as we saw at Wembley. So hopefully they can get him to knuckle down. But I do worry that he'll probably have to have a decent second half of the season. You'd say at the minute the jury's out on him, wouldn't you, really? But
yeah.
That's what I mean about the players we've got. Let's play some of them and have a look at them properly between now and the end of the season. I'd like to see Will Sutton get a run in the side. If Manny Month, if they're talking to Manny Month and he's talking about not renewing next season, then let's play some of those players and get some use of them.
Yeah. Right. Well, in terms of performance, it's your turn now, Gareth. You've got to perform. On the text message, you said that you're expecting it to be one of the worst performances, but you can't get less than 0. Plenty of people have got 0, so you can only get 0. So don't worry about it.
Good. Well, let's see.
So setting you up there with, if you get 1 now, the listeners will be cheering for you.
Let's hope so. Yeah,
and you'll be buzzing. So good. Best of luck. Let's play. Are you ready, Andy?
I am. When you did it last time, which seems an eon ago now, there were the Christmas questions were at the bottom, but you couldn't find them. So I'm gonna, given we've got some Christmas questions, I'm still going to use them.
Oh, okay. Right. Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah. Right. Let's play Latics Mind. Good luck. Latics Mind is sponsored by Oldham Athletic Supporters Foundation, investing in the fans, the club, and the community. Join today at oasf.co.uk for just £12 a year. OASF, because we're stronger together.
Latics Mind.
How many different Latics managers have we had from Boxing Day 2012?
Oh, good grief. 13, 17.
11. How many goals did Andy Ritchie score on Boxing Day in his Latics career?
4.
3. It was a hat-trick against Wolves on the same game. Name one of Latics scorers against Man United on the Boxing Day game of 1991.
Oh, we got battered, didn't we? Roger Palmer.
Wrong. It was either Mike Milligan, Graham Sharp, or Paul Bernard. Who was Latics' last Boxing Day win against?
Foggiest idea, so I'm going to pass. I should have got. I'm going to pass. No idea.
I've got. It says down here, Hartlepool away. Who was Latics' last Boxing Day defeat against?
Oh gosh, I don't know. Again, I don't know. I can't even think. No, don't know. I have to pass.
We got stuff 4-1 at Notts County when we were in National League. Who was Latics manager on Boxing Day in 1994?
Oh, that's Joe Royle.
Graham Sharp.
I told him. I said I wasn't going to swear. I nearly swore then.
Who was Latics manager on Boxing Day in 1981? Come on, Gareth.
1981. It's going to be Joe. Is it Joe? That's not. He was 82.
It was Jimmy Frizzle.
He was. Oh no.
To date, who scored our? I've started, so I'll finish. To date, who scored our last EFL goal on Boxing Day?
Yeah, as predicted, Matt's the big zero because I don't know.
It was Benny Couto against Scunthorpe, 2021.
Extra memory.
We lost that game 3-1, didn't we? It was. I knew that would be. I knew that was the goal. Yeah, but I would never have been able to remember it was Benny Couto. Wow.
So there you go. How
many did you get, Gareth?
It was a big fat zero because the Jimmy Frizzell one's inexplicable.
It was kind of reflective of Latics' early form. Hitting the post, just putting a chance away that you really should have scored there. So never mind.
Yeah. There we go. My dad will kill me for that one.
Andy, you answered the past ones. You didn't give me a chance to.
I know. I did think that. I thought we could throw a couple to that.
Andy, you've forgotten how to do it because we've not done it for ages.
Yeah, I'm a bit rusty. I'm a bit rusty, mate. Sorry.
Yeah. No, it's all right. I would have got Hartlepool on Boxing Day, but inexplicably, I forgot. Maybe I just kind of wiped it from my memory. The 4-1. That didn't pop into my head for some reason. Although I was there, and it was particularly grim.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I'm frustrated about the Man U one on Boxing Day because I do remember things of that match, but even now I can't recall any of those goals from Sharp, Bernardo, Milligan. I remember Andrzej Kanchelskis scoring his goal because he kind of went out into the car park, came back into the stadium and scored, and he took everyone on. But yeah,
that's the overriding memory of that game is just Kanchelskis and Giggs just terrorising us down the wings. It was a really good game, actually. It was a really good game. Yeah, well, never mind. At least we have beaten them in the first division, so there is that. I think Andy's frozen. Either that or he's just. I think he's glitched. Yeah, maybe he's glitched. A glitch in the matrix. Yeah, he seems to have frozen there. And he's gone. So never mind. Let's not worry about that. It seems like a good time to end the show. I hope we've enjoyed your debut on the Boundary Park Alert System, despite Latics mine, Gareth. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, absolutely. I was ready for that. I kind of got myself ready.
Well, you see, and I did say to you in the text, it's like, you are the sacrificial lamb, really. You play so that everybody else can play along at home.
Absolutely.
Somebody has to be on the receiving end of it. And so you've done that on behalf of the rest of the fan, not the whole fan base, but the listener base. So thanks for that. Next game that you'll be at then?
It will be next weekend. It'll be Cheltenham at home.
Cheltenham at home. Let's hope the weather's good to us. Then we've got Barnet away, Barrow away, and Cambridge at home. So then that finishes off January.
Yeah, absolutely.
4 more games. So do you think points haul? Any predictions?
So what should we say? Let's go for 8. 8 points.
Oof. Yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah.
100%,
yeah.
Nice one. All right, mate. Well, listen, good to talk to you. Thanks for joining us.
Likewise.
And we'll see everybody. I'm on holiday next week, so I won't be around to do the phone-in. I won't be at the game, the Cheltenham game, because I'm coming back on Sunday. But we can still do a Saturday. I'm coming back, and we can still do the podcast on Sunday. So I'll see you all next week. All right, cheers, Gareth. Thanks for listening, everyone, and we'll see you next time.
Hey Dave, did you know that listeners can now buy us a coffee or any other kind of hot beverage? What's your favourite hot beverage, Dave?
A macchiato.
And how do you like your macchiato?
Black with lots of milk. Oh.
No cream?
No.
Well, if you want to buy Dave
macchiato,
then go to buymeacoffee.com/We Are Oldham. I'll just have a Nescafe.
Oh. Thank you, listeners.